Good morning. Hello.
Morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Nice to see you both again. It is Wednesday, the 24th of February.
Wow.
And this is, I know. And this is Conscious Conversations number 7?
Seven.
Yeah.
Number 7. This is our 7th week. So welcome again. My name's Mike Jenkins, and joining me for our conversation again this week is Jo Scott, kinesiologist and nutritional therapist, and Dr. Leonie Morris, energy psychologist and energy medicine practitioner. We're going to talk this week about sex. I know. We were trying to choose our topic a day or so ago. And Leonie and I thought we would like to talk about sex, baby. There's a song there somewhere. Anyway, so we're going to talk about it. The perspectives we're going to share are going to be different. So as usual, we're going to have 3 different perspectives. But Leonie, I'm going to put you on the spot and say, can you start us off? Because we have different, so we've already, for everybody watching, we've already discussed this a little bit already, and we have 3 quite different perspectives on this. So just to remind anyone who's watching, a lot of the work that I'm sharing is about present moment awareness and becoming mindful of our own body, mind, and also of the present moment, and how that can really could facilitate a more skillful way of living. And Leonie works with energy medicine and energy techniques, and Jo Scott works with nutrition and balance and energy and kinesiology to bring balance and health and well-being to us. So Leonie, you were telling us before that you often work with a lot of clients who come to you who are struggling with libido or sex drive, or perhaps women going through the menopause and feeling that difficulty in their body. So why don't you start us off talking about that, and then if Jo, were you happy for me to go in the middle?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then for you to finish off.
Yeah.
We've had lots of jokes about
We
that.
have had lots of jokes already,
Our school
but we'll
board
talk about that.
days.
We'll talk about it. We might, if we've got time, we'll talk about our anyway. So libido.
Yes. Well, actually, that schoolboy, schoolgirl joke is a good segue, because we're in this country, we're brought up to think that sexuality, sensuality is not necessarily a good thing. So many of us have a sort of a strange relationship with their sexuality. You know, we keep it to ourselves. We're less likely to talk about it. And often when things aren't going well in the bedroom front, because we're that restricted, it only happens in the bedroom, we don't talk about it. We get very, very repressed. So I wanted to share today some tips, some energy techniques to support our libido. I've had lots of women going through hormonal changes, whether it's to do with PMS or to do with pre-menopause, during or post, who are suffering with not feeling sexual, not feeling good about their sexuality, and not able to support, you know, those sensual feelings within themselves. So I wanted to backtrack a little bit, because I have my scientific brain and my research head carrying into these conversations. And I wanted to share why the human body is biologically predispositioned to enjoy sensual touch. It's normal, it's okay, and it's more than that. If we don't excite our sensual perceptors, it's actually depriving us of something that we really need. So we have 17,000 mechanoperceptors in each hand. Bing, 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 bing. So our hands are super sensual. They are made for touch. And before I kind of carry on with my nerdy science bit, they're made for touch for a reason. We need to be able to feel microcosmic differences in all the things around us for how we eat, for how we behave with each other, to learn, to be educated, to know what's good for us. It all comes through our sense of touch. So our hands are intimately connected with our brains. And if we're not exciting that stimulus, we are not living a full life. So this is about being wholehearted, enjoying life as a human being on this planet. And if you just, this is part of an energy medicine technique, 17,000 perceptors, and that's why I've got bare arms. A way of literally feeling that super sensitivity is running your hands super lightly, feather touch up your arms. And if you do that, you know, it with some beautiful soft music on, but literally this is exciting your sensual touch. As you're doing this, blood will be filling, you know, moving to the parts of your body where sensuality is encouraging the flow. So to your genitals, to that whole sacral area. So literally by doing this, you're exciting sensuality. It feels wonderful. If you ever feel stressed and you do this, it's a beautiful part. I do figure eights round this, the crease. The creases in our body have amazing depth. So they carry your energy. So whatever you're suggesting into your energy patterns is carried deep into your body. So doing those feather-like figure of eights on your elbows are inviting sensual pleasure. No shame, no guilt. We are meant to feel this and to enjoy this. If you carry it on for long enough, you will literally feel the hairs on the back of your neck starting to lift. And that's part of a natural sensual arousal. So I promise you, just touching yourself in that way is a beautiful way to excite your libido in a totally natural, loving way. And it actually stems back, the word virgin, first used, I believe, in the 12th century, Latin and French origins, but it actually meant empowered within yourself. So although it, of course, it has now later connotations of not having had sexual congress, that lovely word, with another person, it actually meant empowering yourself sexually. So being in total control of your own body, knowing your body, feeling no shame, understanding it's natural and it's part of living in your fullness. So doing that gentle exercise literally excites greater health. It gets your blood flowing, it dilates the capillaries in all of your bloodstream, gets the oxygen flowing, and it creates all of those happy hormones as well, the serotonin, the oxytocin. So just doing that actually excites the hormones that enable us to connect. So we talked before you guys joined us about the difference between sexuality and where it might be leading you. So from a psychological point of view, we have these biological receptors to ignite those feelings, to encourage us to open our hearts, to open our minds and connect with another human being, because we need that to survive. We absolutely need it to thrive and be our best. So we are social beings. And when we open up in that way and we connect, we open our hearts, we talk, we share from the heart. So that for me is the background about why this is so important, and nothing at all to be ashamed about. How long have I been talking? Because I do have this other exercise to share for which I need to lie horizontally. Is there time for that today, or is that something to share next time?
I think you've not been talking that long, so we can probably...
I am going to, excuse me while I move you all, because I've got to pick up my microphone and get a certain, I've got to get an angle right now. So bear with me on this one. I mean, you guys feel, whoops, I'm using my microphone. Feel free to join me. This is an exercise, an energy medicine exercise, where you lie flat on your back, and I might need to angle. Can you still hear?
I can, yeah. I'm on a desktop, so I can't put it on the floor.
I want you to be able to see this part of my body. So the crease here, your groin crease, carries all sorts of wonderful energy channels. In Chinese energy medicine, they are the yin channels, the yin meridians of spleen, liver, and kidney. And they basically travel all the way down your leg and up through your body. And a really important point is this crease here. So literally resting your hands so they're resting in that crease and inviting your consciousness to move to this sacral area, inviting your consciousness to release, to relax, to embody the divine feminine that we all have. And when I say feminine, I don't mean literally just male, female in a very Western concept. I mean feminine in terms of looking inwards, reflecting inside with our inner world, exploring the depths of our inner selves. So if you imagine now a beautiful apricot orange, warm, sensual colours, literally feeling like a ball of energy here in the sacral area, right over the lower belly, the lower abdomen. And just imagine this is your second energy centre, the sacral chakra, where your sensuality, your sexuality, your ability to share and connect, to know that you are connected to all people, to all living things. And imagine that beautiful wheel of energy spinning and expanding, inviting your sexual flow. Now I'm going to share a secret. It's called the grandmother's secret. And this isn't a recipe for marmalade. This is a recipe about getting in touch with your own sexuality. And you may not be able to see this on camera, but it's about feeling the energies of the earth beneath your back. So viewers, if you're watching, the more you lie down, particularly if you've got the chance in the sunshine to lie in the open, on the grass, you start to feel a figure 8 energy. And it starts, if you can see, I can lifting upwards, lifting the whole groin area in an undulating shape. It's like a figure 8 vertically going up the body. Some people do this horizontally, as if I'm belly dancing into the floor. And there is also some very, they sound very erotic, but the kind of the exhale when you're doing this grinding either upwards and downwards or side to side is exciting your libido, filling your whole genital area with an amazing blissful flow. And I won't carry on for hours because you'll get the idea, but this is a beautiful way to feel connected to earth, connected to your inner self, enjoying that apricot flow of energy, like waves of energy figurating through your body. This is good for you, for your vibrancy, for your fullness, for your release. It's so cathartic. You can literally feel the tension move from your body. And yes, it is a little sexual, but it's incredibly a beautiful grounded sexuality, a wholeness, a kind of innocent sensuality just for you. So do this when you're on your own, when you're not going to be interrupted. Play your favorite sensual music. Set the mood, light candles, and I'll share my favorite oil blend for sensuality. So neroli, which is a beautiful orange blossom, very fragrant, very perfumed. That's great for intimacy. You mix that with wild orange, which is great for confidence and playfulness. And then spearmint on top of that for expanding the airways for really breathing into your sensual nature. So put that beautiful blend of essential oils, get it moving through the air, inhale deeply, light some candles, have your music, and just enjoy that figure of 8 flow. So I'll join you back again. I'll shift us
Thank you
back
so
up.
much. That's wonderful. Sorry we couldn't join along. I think Joe and I are at desks.
Yeah.
I'm in a little cubbyhole corner, which would look a bit strange if I suddenly just disappeared and you had an empty chair here. Leonie, that is really, really wonderful. And there's such a lot there that people, I think, can gain from. So people watching this, I hope you feel that you can use that, maybe watch the video back and follow through that exercise. Because even just, I don't know about you, Joe, but even just sitting here and visually, I mean, visual chakra meditations are incredibly powerful, aren't they? Even if you're just engaging with the imagery and allowing that imagery through your body and into the cells of your body. And something struck me, Leonie, through the whole of your talk, but certainly from the beginning when we were doing the exercise of just gentle touch, is that actually one of the great things about simply the stuff that I do with present moment awareness is that it often takes us directly into our body. So we just become very conscious and aware and intimate with sensations in the body. And I know from my own experience that you know, sexual feelings can very quickly take me up into my head and into stories, narratives, judgments, identifications, and to a place where I make conclusions about myself that either feel good or feel bad, or I'm projecting out and wondering what conclusions are people making about me. And very quickly, we can get stuck in those feelings of guilt, shame, you know, out of control, secrecy, you know, like we were saying, feeling things that are perfectly natural, but not because perhaps culturally or whatever our family culture is like, or our community and religion and all this stuff that we kind of are born into can just keep us locked in and dysfunctional. You know, we all know that sex is one of the biggest drivers of dysfunction in human beings, and from a very early age, children, and I can remember this, feeling first of all curious about our genital area because we sense its power, you know, especially as we're coming into prepubescence, and then of course shame around that because whatever our cultural or family, I mean, I think I can't say this conclusively, of course, but I would suspect that even with a pretty you know, balanced, well-informed, modern, free, open family, children still pick up feelings of shame and embarrassment from other children at school or from teachers or from the news or from, you know, whatever's around us in books and our culture. So I think it's really any sort of practice that brings us back into our body, it simplifies it, you know, in a way that disconnects sometimes from those unhelpful mental attachments that seek to make a self-image out of something. You know, I think whenever we struggle with feelings, normal sensations in the body, so that might be sexual feelings, it might be feelings of anger or grief or loss or depression, is that somehow along that journey we make a false self-image out of that. And I think that any practice that can just take us into the body to fully experience that without any thought or story or narrative can actually free us into, so it's not about escaping those feelings, but actually diving fully into them without a great deal of thought necessarily. You know, it's not that we're deliberately being, you know, when I say without thought, it's not that we're being deliberately chaotic, but actually we're just experiencing fully the sensations in our body. So very quickly, I wondered, Joe, should I do a meditation at the end Or maybe that would be a good idea
good,
to finish off with that today, because I think really for me that's something that is very helpful in managing our sexual feelings, whether that is like Leonie's work is about a lot about revitalizing libido and coming into a healthy balance with our sexual energy. For me in my own life, it's often about just accepting these feelings that we have and allowing them to be in the context of this greater heart connection. So thank you, Leonie. That was really, really helpful. And I think as well, it's good for us to feel the kind of discomfort around some of this stuff. I mean, immediately we know people are going to watch this video, we hope, that if people are going to watch it, that they'll feel slightly uncomfortable with this. And actually, it's okay for us to just witness that and feel it and see it for what it is. Because there is, I loved your perspective, Leonie, because we are sexual beings, and we are sensual beings. For me, personally, and I know probably for a lot of guys as well, sometimes the enjoyment of that sensual pleasure can run away with us and create addictive behaviors, sex addiction. I mean, porn addiction these days is a huge problem for a lot of people. So these dysfunctions can go either way, can't they? That we can actually end up sort of purging any sort of, sexual activity from our lives, or only sort of, being obsessed with it. So balance is really key. So with that in mind, Jo, that might lead us nicely into your own perspective, because Jo, I love your input on these conscious conversations, because not only is because you're about balance, really. I mean, I think for me, knowing you as a friend, you always bring some sense of balance to whatever I'm dealing with, but also your work as a kinesiologist, working with the body's energy, but then translating that into action for something that we can do practically in steps that are, achievable, to do with changing our diet or exercise or emotional health, and just addressing things in a deliberate way that often can sometimes maybe have a plan with it, I think is so helpful. So maybe you can talk a bit, Jo, about some of the things that we can do or perspectives we can take to bring balance to.
Yeah, definitely. I thought that was absolutely lovely, Leonie. I love that it's something about giving time back to ourselves. I think it's something that a lot of us don't do. We feel it's selfish. We're trying to pack too many things in. So just, and it doesn't need to be huge amounts of time, but just that lovely bit of time just to connect with yourself and to relax. And I just thought to myself, not only is it great in, opening up those energy channels and all of that, but just great to de-stress, really. And I love the way that you've got, obviously the sense of touch. You talk about the music, so it's your hearing. You've got your colors, you've got your smells with your oils. It's kind of engaging all those senses and getting that lovely balance. And I thought that was just fantastic. And things that we're often just too busy rushing, too busy being what I would call human doings rather than human beings, and just connecting with ourselves and just acknowledging the feelings and enjoying them, which I think was so great. Because I think, this whole thing is sort of around libido and sensuality. I think there's so many things that can affect it. So it can be obviously the hormones, definitely, for women around, menopause, around, PMS, and for men, there's male menopause, there's all those hormones that men deal with as well. So it's that balance of the hormones. Stress can be a big player. That can affect, when people are feeling stressed, they don't necessarily feel that they can relax and get into that feeling. Sleep, and going back to, we spoke about being well hydrated and good diet. All of those things are fundamental to where we're at, really. And also, you know, along with our diet and along with exercise, when we're not necessarily having a healthy diet and we're not getting that exercise, that can really affect our sense of well-being and our self-image. And of course, image is a big player, isn't it, around libido and how we feel about ourselves and whether we feel, you know, sexy or whether, you know, we don't, you know, so that's another. So there's all these different things, and our mood, you know, if we're feeling anxious, if we're feeling depressed, there's all those different things that are all jumbling around. So lots of things. And I think, you know, with stress, it's thinking about, you know, doing some of these sort of techniques that Leonie is talking about, looking at the meditation that Mike's talking about as well, and just allowing ourselves just to be, allowing just to enjoy who we are. Rather than getting caught up into the day-to-day things. So there's lots of things in here as well. And around balancing hormones, I often say to people, it is really worth getting your hormone levels checked out. They're very, very fine, and they, you know, up and down, up and down, up and down all the time. But when they can end up really out of balance, it is well worth getting that checked out, because there are lots of things that we can do to get our hormones back in balance. But I definitely suggest that. But I suppose around diet, one of probably the key minerals that we really need, I mean, there's lots of vitamins and minerals that we need, but one of the key things around this is zinc. Zinc
You're
is
going to say that. Shellfish come to mind, all those aphrodisiac shellfish.
exactly, all our oysters and all that sort of thing. So yeah, zinc's really important, because what it does is it's required to produce things which are called prostaglandins, and they actually work with our hormones and with, you know, balancing out the hormones. So zinc's a really big one, and zinc is probably one mineral that most of us are deficient in, because a lot of our soils etc. are depleted, so we're not getting that. So zinc, and some of the foods that you can get that from is like the oysters, like you're saying, things like haddock, Brazil nuts, almond nuts, lamb, pecan nuts, ginger root is really, really good. So whole host of things that you can get zinc in your diet. But I often say to people, if you're picking up that you have got really low zinc levels, then it is worth supplementing until you get it back up through your diet. And so zinc's a really strong mineral in there as well. Also, when you're thinking about the balancing of hormones, it's really important that we're getting what I call our essential fatty acids. So there are good fats, so things that we get in our nuts, in avocados, in seeds, balancing the hormones. And it's well worth considering as well, keeping maybe your meat fats not too high in your diet when you're thinking about that, because sometimes in our meat we've got a lot of saturated fat, which we need a certain amount, but too much can start to cause havoc with our hormones. So it's really important to think about those things. And then I sort of picked out a few little sort of pieces of nutrition and food and some supplements that can help. So figs really good, bananas and avocados, because they've got substances in them, vitamins and minerals in them, which help to increase the blood circulation and the flow. So as Leonie was saying, that's important to have that flow. Is important for the whole body, but important for us around our, you know, sensuality and sexuality. So those are really, really great to have. Strawberries as well, they could be another one that's really good for that. And then thinking around sort of supplement wise, we've got things like garlic. Garlic again is really good for the circulation, as is ginkgo biloba, another one that's really good for that. And more recently, what's really come into play is maca. And all of these things you can get in capsule form. You can also get them sometimes in tinctures, and you can get them in powder form. So there's sort of thing that, you know, you can mix in with a smoothie. Each day when you're, you know, having a smoothie, you can mix that in. So it's really good to have. So I think, you know, overall, it's about thinking of the different elements, and a lot of the things that we've looked at already. So hydration, watching our, sugar levels, that we're not over with that as well, getting that sleep and de-stressing. And I suppose one thing I'd bring into play as well is that sometimes people feel, alcohol, a little bit of alcohol helps us loosen up and get in the mood, but too much alcohol isn't good at all.
I'm reminded of the porter's speech in Macbeth. You know that one. It provokes the desire but takes away the performance.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's it's just getting a balance, and I think balancing our energy, balancing what we eat, and getting that exercise in there as well, because of course the exercise is what releases and gets our endorphins going, our serotonin levels, and all of that is that feel good stuff.
I'm smiling as you say that, Jo. So can you see a hoop in the behind me?
Yes.
My hula hoop. That's my hula hoop, which is very good for the hip movements where you need the flow. The best sensible exercise equipment in the world. You heard it first here.
Yeah, and it's interesting. You were sort of talking about figures of 8.
Yeah.
In kinesiology, we have something called Tibetan 8s.
Yeah, same for me. Yeah, same.
So it's that flow in a figure of 8, and it's when we get sort of blockages in there that we need to release that and get it flowing. So I was very much thinking when you were sharing, that exercise about getting that flow, that figure of 8, and I suppose that's with your hula hoop, isn't it?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. It's a very powerful instrument, that.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Jo, thank you so much. That's really helpful. There's loads of packed full of suggestions in there, which I know that people can take from that, what will be good for them. I actually take the maca powder. I find it great just for in general stuff. And I mix that in with yogurt or porridge, whichever really. And I think for me, the overall message here actually is getting into our bodies and getting out of our heads, because the techniques that you're sharing, Leonie, are very much about that. So about dropping all of that stuff that we think we knew about sex and the judgments and all of those images and conclusions, and actually just experiencing the sensuality of our body with no shame, with no guilt. And for some people that's going to be a journey. I mean, we all know we individually have our own conditioned experiences that we bring to this, and that's okay. For some people that's going to be a longer journey. For others it's more straightforward. And the stuff that you're talking about, Jo, is really in the same realm, because you're talking about good sleep, good nutrition, hydrating, drinking water a lot, moving our body, and being conscious and deliberate and aware of the foods that we're eating and the way that we're caring for ourselves. So with that said, I'd like to do a very short meditation just to finish off, to just root our consciousness back into the body, and just to experience life energy in our body, in every cell of our body. So I will use the Tibetan bowl today, and we'll just do a couple of minutes to finish off with this. And just to say, lots of people, when we go to a dance class, often people feel a bit more liberated because they're connecting and flowing with others. They're in relationship with other people, but really through their body, through the intelligence of their body, not so much the mind. So here we go then. So just get comfortable however you like, and I'll strike the bowl and we'll do a few minutes guided meditation. So just for these few moments, Just allow yourself to just be. Just let the breath come and go easily. And turn our attention to sensations in the body. Just the sensations. Feeling of your clothes against your skin. And the feeling of your feet on the floor or on the chair. And you can move your awareness around different parts of your body. Around the toes and the feet, the legs, the knees, around the hips, stomach, torso, chest and your heart, lungs, shoulders, neck, back, arms, fingers, back of the neck, face, scalp, head. And just allow that aware consciousness, our own capacity for awareness, to fully embrace your whole body, as if there is space and light through your whole body. Noticing that we are held here together in this moment.
Feel very relaxed again now. Thank you, Mike. Always makes my voice go lower after you've done it.
Yeah, it's all sort of calm, isn't it? I saw the most just beautiful turquoise all across. I had my eyes closed. It was beautiful.
Lovely.
That's a lovely one, because that's the colour of expression, our throat chakra, isn't it? So
lovely, yeah, beautiful.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a really, I think this is a topic that we could, a bit like fatigue, and they're linked, aren't they? Like you were saying, Jo.
Yes.
A big thing for people, I think, a lot of the time is linked to energy, and physical energy and fatigue, and yeah.
I would love to hear what people's questions are on this one, because we really don't speak up, and repressing things never does us any favors. So, my hand on my heart, opening up to you guys. I really love for people to share and be brave on this one.
No, absolutely.
Yeah,
I'd like to hear as well, definitely.
Yeah, just for people to feel that they can express themselves and feel they can do that, isn't it? Because sometimes that can be the start of opening up and allowing things to change, isn't it? So,
and I think that turquoise energy that you saw kind of encouraged me to think that expression, sharing, asking connecting about this subject is so important. So I'm so glad that you saw that, Joe.
Yeah,
absolutely. And having a grown up, mature conversation about it, you know, where we're not, I mean, in a way, it's nice that we have a sort of friendly sort of humor around it in this country. I do think that's quite nice. It's a bit softer than complete, but it sort of masks a general sense of unease and discomfort around our bodies. And the feeling, this is one thing actually that I didn't talk about, and perhaps we can come back to it another time. But for me, sexual energy is really about our relationship to power a lot of the time. You know, it's an expression of love. That's true, love and connection with another. But love is power. You know, any expression of love is an expression of power, and sexual energy is really physical rooted power. So I think it's no surprise that culturally we have dysfunctional relationships around sex and sexual energy, because we have, as humans, dysfunctional relationships with power.
Yes, yeah.
Anything related to, you know, wherever you see great abuses of power, you know, it's connected to these things like sex and money and control and all of these things, you know. So I think it's there's so much there, you know, and I think it'd be great if people felt that, you know, we could have these conversations in a clear and open way. Maddie's telling us it's time. It's the little dog. Look at her, little Maddie. Sweet. She's telling us it's time to go for a little wander around the block.
Yeah, romp time.
So, thanks so much again, both of you, for joining. Really valuable things to share. Sweet, look at her.
Yeah, she's gorgeous, isn't she?
She's lovely, yeah.
You know, thank you. It's just great, just that sharing and just voicing thoughts, isn't it? And that's great.
It's so helpful to have you leading us and summarising and really underlining some of the important points. So I'm enjoying my own sensual lip. Who needs a nice
She says, I'm joining in. I'm joining
Yes, yes, yeah. Lovely. All right. Well, listen, have good afternoons, both of you.
You too.
And see you next week.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.